Not even that.
I'd like to call this meeting of the Monticello City Council to order. Would you please rise and join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance and stay standing as Rodney Burris leads us in prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So Father God, thank you so much for bringing us together again safely. We ask you to be with us as we make decisions and lead and guide this city. And we thank you for our great town. We love you and praise your name. Amen.
Amen.
Oh.
please.
Mr. Reed?
Here.
Mr. Woodham? Mr. Carey?
Here.
Ms. Lively? Mr. Piercy?
Here.
Mr. Brock?
Here.
Mr. Roderick?
Here.
Mr. Kuhn?
Here.
Mr. Burris?
Here.
Ms. Young? Here. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Public participation, in-person participation. This is an opportunity for the public to provide public comment to the presiding officer. Those wishing to speak are required to sign in prior to commencement of the meeting and must address the council from the seat and table provided. The public comments must comply with ordinance 2014-02 and be limited to 5 minutes or less. No one this evening. Thanks, Chief. Remote participation. This is an opportunity for the public to provide public comment to the presiding officer. Public comments must comply with ordinance 2014-02 and be limited to 5 minutes or less. At this time, members of the public are able to attend public meetings by web conference and to submit public comment by email, voicemail, or through web conference. Anyone tonight more? Thank you. Moving on to the consent agenda. Consent agenda, approval of documents and action items is listed. Claims report, claims dated July 9th, 2024 through July 22nd, 2024. Meeting minutes, City Council meeting minutes, July 8th, 2024. Historic Preservation Commission meeting minutes, November 7th, 2023. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions before we proceed? Hearing or seeing none, may I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Reed? Mr. Carey?
Yes.
Ms. Lively?
Yes.
Mr. Piercy?
Yes.
Mr. Brock?
Yes.
Mr. Broderick?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhn?
Yes.
Mr. Burris?
Yes.
Ms. Young? Yes. Motion passes.
Thank you. There is no mayor's report this evening, so I'll move on to new business. Resolution 2024-38, a resolution for a conditional use permit for additional accessory structure at 2020 East Washington, City of Monticello, Fayette County, Illinois. Jim?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, Resolution 2024-38 is a conditional use to permit a ground-mounted solar array at the, at the Monticello United Methodist Church. They're seeking this conditional use permit for that ground-mounted solar array on a parcel zoned RU. The applicant requests a conditional use permit as described in the City of Monticello zoning regulations, section 153.020, section C, line 2. Any additional or other accessory structure or uses constructed only after the issuance of a ground or a conditional use permit. So they already have a shed there. They're just requesting to put the ground mounted solar array behind that away from Washington Street. We sent out a public notice for a public hearing. We published it in the Pike County Journal Republican. We sent it to we sent a notice to the adjacent property owners. We did not receive any comments back in favor or in denial of the request to have the conditional use permit. City staff reviewed all the submitted documents and concurred that it meets, that there will be no adverse effects to the neighboring parcels and that it is consistent with the church's current campus setup. We didn't find anything that would be negative, so it's recommended the city council discuss and approve this conditional use permit for the additional additional accessory structure, ground-mounted solar array at the address commonly known as 2020 East Washington in Monticello today at this regular scheduled meeting.
Thank you. Does anyone have a comment or question?
So what you're saying is it's going to be hidden behind the church?
It'll be behind the church, yeah.
You're not going to see it from the street?
You likely won't see it unless you're looking for it, right?
Okay.
You didn't mention PZB. They voted.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I apologize. The PZB voted unanimously to, I am tongue-tied. They voted unanimously to advance this to you for your approval.
Anything else? Is there a motion to approve resolution 2024-38?
Motion?
Second? Any more chance? Comments, questions? Hearing or seeing none, may I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. Carey?
Yes.
Ms. Lively?
Yes.
Mr. Piercy?
Yes.
Mr. Brock?
Yes.
Mr. Broderick?
Yes.
Mr. Coon?
Yes.
Mr. Burris?
Yes.
Ms. Young?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Moving on to ordinance 2024-39, an ordinance regulating traffic, Forest Drive entering Medical Center Drive, Foxtrot Lane entering Old Route 47, Innovation Parkway entering South Market Street, Medical Center Drive entering Kirby Circle, Prairie Trail entering Kirby Circle, Sage Fields Boulevard entering Medical Center Drive, and authorizing the installation of traffic control devices. Jim?
I'm going to slow this down.
Okay.
Okay. Correct. Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance 2024-39 is an ordinance regulating these traffic and authorizing the installation of traffic control devices. In all these instances, it's stop signs. So these are, if you're familiar with these locations, have been designed to have stop signs. Now we have to change the actual table within the code of ordinances that has these listed so the police can enforce them. Long and the short of it is, this is kind of just a paperwork drill. We've already approved the subdivisions and these are just not necessary. So we bring it before you to approve, changing the ordinance, adding these into that table.
Okay.
Much better. And so it's recommended that the city council discuss and approve adding these to the table that has stop signs.
Are there comments or questions? Hearing or seeing none, is there a motion to approve ordinance 2024-39?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Once more, any comments, questions? Hearing or seeing none, may I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. Carey?
Yes.
Ms. Lively?
Yes.
Mr. Piercy?
Yes.
Mr. Brock?
Yes.
Mr. Broderick?
Yes.
Mr. Coon?
Yes.
Mr. Burris?
Yes.
Ms. Young?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Resolution 2024-40, a resolution approving a contract for Grant Street and Buchanan surfacing. Jim?
Thank you. 2024-40 is a resolution approving the contract for the Grant Street and Buchanan Street resurfacing. The council did approve budgeting money to resurface these streets. In the general fund budget, the attached bid tabs, they're the bid tabs we had attached. We had three good bids and as well as the average high and low unit prices were shown on those bid tabs. The construction start date is tentatively scheduled to begin in August of this year. We'll know more about the contractor's schedule upon execution of the contract. Access to the affected properties will be maintained and reasonable as possible. Traffic will be reduced to one lane during these paving operations. I know most of you are familiar. We mill down one side, then we mill down the other, then we pave one side. So we always stagger, but always keep traffic flowing through these areas. When we do have to take it down, people will maintain access into their driveways and not make it where it's detrimental to their crossing over those curbs. It's recommended the city council discuss and approve this resolution as presented today at this regular scheduled meeting, July 22nd. So any questions you might have about that, we're really excited to get Dunn Company, who's the company that also had State Street, is also the company that came in with the apparent low bidder. We need your approval we're ready to do it.
Any comments or questions? Is there a motion to approve resolution 2024-40?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second. I did have one. Is it possible to add, we did State Street. We added this piece of Livingston. Didn't need it also. The Main Street between Hamilton and Pyatt is in desperate need. Is there any way to add those sections to this or
So, I'm sorry, say the section again.
Main Street between Hamilton and Pyatt.
Ward 2 and 4.
And we did, like I said, we did this, the Livingston patch we did State Street there by Subway. And that was much needed and we were able to add that section on.
I got to be perfectly honest, I'm not familiar with the condition of that, if we can, because what we did there was most definitely a temporary patch that, it needs to be redone. But I have to look at this to give you a for sure answer, but it is something that we can talk about if you want to allocate more money to doing. We are going to have.
They're going to be here and
I know.
Livingston was one block and,
this would be 3 blocks.
and no curb work or anything.
Right.
And very little engineering. There's not been any engineering on that. It would,
It's back down to the brick.
Huh?
It's back down to the original brick.
so we need a patch.
Oh, no.
It's beyond that.
We talked about putting it in next year's budget.
Okay.
So
If you want to allocate whatever it might take, and if the contractor can do it.
But that's allocating, we don't know what the cost is.
Right.
There's
not been any.
When they say when they say there's no engineering, that means they haven't done any work to know what it's going to take.
And Livingston had the engineering done already prior to, that's why that fit into doing that repair.
Seems like it'd be easy just to add it on. Just add it on, but it's.
No,
It's not.
No, it's not.
No. And MFT monies has a lot of strings attached. It's unfortunately, the state has, they, as much as you hold the purse strings, you got one side of it, they got the other. So
They're bigger.
But worst case scenario is we plan to put it in next year's budget.
That's the plan.
Yeah.
But we are going to try to do a full depth patch on Market Street where we had a water main repair that's just patched right now, one of the contractors in town. And then we had a sewer situation on the brand new asphalt on State Street. And we're going to have a full depth patch put on there as they're in town.
I was just going to ask.
Yeah, we'll try to get everything done while they're in town.
my feelings got really hurt when we cut into State Street. There was a lot of anger.
Anyone else? I have a motion and a second. Can I have a roll call, please?
Yes.
Mr. Carey?
Yes.
Ms. Lively?
Yes.
Mr. Piercy?
Yes.
Mr. Brock?
Yes.
Mr. Roderick?
Yes.
Mr. Coon?
Yes.
Mr. Burris?
Yes.
Ms. Young?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. All the persons' reports. I'm going to start with Rodney.
Great job with the city guys. Great job after that storm last week. My wife and I drug some limbs under the thing, and before we got back from our walk, you guys had them put away. So I'm just they always do a great job. Appreciate that.
I'll extend that to the guys.
Thank you.
Tom?
Nothing, thank you.
Wendell?
Congratulations to Jim on a successful Friday, Saturday setup up on Pepsin Hill. It went well. I see we have some electrical installed there for future use. Don't know whether the state contacted the chief tonight, this afternoon or not, but my guess is they have not. And the only way I know this is I was just out there. There are 3 semis nose to tail on I-72 at the bridge getting ready to unload beams. So they are going to close the interstate sometime tonight. They had people coming to work at shortly after 6 o'clock carrying lunch buckets and water jugs. So I assume it's going to be an overnight affair, but they are three long semis there with steel bridge beams on them. So if you see excess traffic, or if somebody jumps on Facebook and says, what's going on west of town? They're working on the bridge.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you. Eric?
Well, it was about Main Street, but he addressed that before I could get there. So.
Okay, Mike?
Nothing further.
It's your turn.
No.
Andrea? Nothing? Cole?
No, sir.
Tom?
Nothing's going to wait till.
Dwayne?
Nope.
Thank you. Police chief's report. Rob?
All right, real quick, we did have a report here a week or 2 ago of a sex offender that was dropping their child off for swim lessons. We did a little research into it. The state of Illinois, in their infinite wisdom, allow some sex offenders to be at parks as long as their child is in programs or attending there. Sexual predators are not included in that. So we sent notice to the person that was involved in that. He was less than enthusiastic about it, so we decided to send a notice to all sexual predators in Hyatt County, which encompasses, I believe, 32. Really, we didn't get a lot of feedback except for 2 that said, we don't even know where your pool is, why did I get a letter? And a third one from Mansfield that told us he would be wherever he wanted to go. It didn't matter what the law was. It was explained to him in no uncertain terms what would happen to him and the legal ramifications of that. We are working with 4 counties, got charges against him for violating the Sex Offender Registration Act. So we're forwarding what we know to them so they have a complete picture on his attitude towards the Sex Offender Registration Act. Beyond that, thank you, Wendy. I'll make sure our guys know about maybe the increased traffic if they're going to divert through Market Street to maybe through Cisco. I'm not exactly sure. I'll get a hold of the guys if they're out there and see what their plans on the detour are. And then for those that weren't aware of the animal issue from earlier this week, we did, within 32 hours, we made an arrest for that. A lot of that took time because we needed to get a warrant to go inside the residence, and we couldn't do that without a report from the vet clinic. We asked for that, and I think it came about 12 hours later. So once we got that set up, we put a press release out Monday evening. I kept in touch with the animal hospital to make arrangements for the animals. We did have to get an impoundment order. That's not just because I wanted to, that's because that's state law. We have to follow state law on that. So we did get that impoundment order. The animals were transferred to an animal control facility, and then in the midst of everything, Facebook blowing up and everything else, we found out there is no actual contract that we have with the animal hospital. Everything's been a handshake agreement, or the only thing they were able to give me was an undated, unsigned letter from 2006.
Oh.
We have updated our ordinances for animal control in 2012, 2018, and 2023 with no mention of this letter. I explained to the staff at the hospital, listen, I don't want you guys to be out of money, but we need to have something in writing. Then that way, everyone knows where the other sits. You know, there's no discussion about who pays for what. It's all in black and white. So I would just kind of a heads up for the September or October meeting. I'll probably present a contract to you to vote on, and we can kind of work it out. But I want to meet with city staff and then the animal hospital, you know, maybe take a look at a few other contracts that we have that are available out there, just see what other cities and counties are doing. That way we don't have to reinvent the wheel. That way everyone's covered. We know what we're paying for. They know what they're billing us for, and then they get made whole. The worst thing I want to do is seem like we're taking advantage of a situation when we can actually pay it, and then if we have to, we'll get court costs put into a court order or something along those lines. It's getting blood out of a turnip a lot of times, but you know, at least we try to work with some of our agencies here in town. Anybody have any questions on that? Okay. I will say kudos. There was a woman that was very concerned about what happened, put out some things, and then realized maybe that wasn't the fact of the matter. In 20 years of me doing this, you don't get a lot of apologies. This woman, and her heart's in the right place. You know, she cares about animals, and that's a great thing. Better than people not caring about animals or, you know, or anything like that. Realized that maybe the information she had wasn't the truth, apologized, you know, kind of helped us out, letting us know when this guy showed up at the house so we could arrest him. Like I said, in 20 years, I've had maybe a handful of people actually apologize and say, hey, you know, sorry about that. So kudos to her. That kind of made things fly over a little bit better. So on a different tone, fantastic job by all the volunteers and the city staff that helped out with the smoke and octane. From what I gathered, the barbecue was awesome. The bands were good. I never thought in a million years you could fit 204 cars out there. What, did we get a final number? Or are we going with?
Sundowner's going with 177.
I'm going to go with 204. I like that. Motorcycles and everything else. It was awesome. It really was a lot of fun stuff that was out there. We had absolutely no problem with it. We were able to get everyone out. And then St. Jude went off without any problems last Friday. They made their way up to Peoria. Better them than me. But yeah, like I said, so far so good. We've got Officer Wooten is graduating here on August 22nd. So here in about 5.5 weeks, we'll have an officer out for training.
Good. Any questions? Comments? Thank you very much, Rob. Appreciate your effort. City Administrator's report, Terry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Update on PFC Robert C. Burke Memorial Park. The bid opening is scheduled for August 15th. Hopefully we can award that contract at the August 26th City Council meeting for them to begin in hopefully September of this year. PZB is going to meet next month for a public hearing regarding setback reductions in a new residential subdivision out by the new daycare facility on the KMC campus. That's been, I think is it a PUD?
Yes.
So it's a planned unit development. So they'll hold a public hearing third Monday of next month, and that'll come to you on August 26th. To piggyback on Chief Bross' comments on the smoke and octane, the Recreation Foundation with the help of a lot of people. I was amazed at all the people that helped out, that volunteered. All city staff was there unless they were out of town. All Public Works Department employees were there at the festivities. It truly was a community-wide event. 177 vehicles in the first year is an absolutely crazy number of vehicles. The barbecue, we had 6 competitors. It was kind of a small invite-only type thing for the first year. They sold the barbecue after the judging. The barbecue was sold out in about an hour. One contestant sold 200 samples of beef, brisket, chicken, or pork. So it was a huge turnout. Very big kudos to Jerry Sample, the owner at the mini golf place, Bushwood on Main. He was an outstanding participant, opened his building and his property to anybody and everybody. It was reported he did one of, if not the best day that he's ever had at the putt-putt place. So that was great. He opened his doors for the judging of the barbecue competition. But outstanding citizen, Jerry Sample. Donations were made back to the foundation from the barbecue folks, cornhole participants. The winning teams donated that money back to the foundation. The firefighters donated their time for Friday night and cooked hamburgers and hot dogs. And I think that was a great event Friday night. And I'm going to miss some things, so I'll ask Jim to chime in if he wants to. But after the car show, 204 cars, about 199 of 204 cars left. So Chief and I had spoken a few days before, and they were all going to exit out of Livingston Street onto Market Street. And if you're familiar with that intersection, it's a kind of a dangerous intersection, kind of blind with with Biobin or former Biobin right there on the corner. So Chief Ross was kind enough to, I think, come in on a day off that you don't normally get. And then Officer Foreman was out there, and they let 200 cars out in a matter of 15 minutes, Rob, I don't know, 20?
About 20, 30.
Yeah, I mean, and all these, and these are expensive cars that you don't want to see in a car accident. So I know Sundowners and all the car guys and ladies appreciated that escort, if you will. That was huge. Am I forgetting anything?
No, you covered. I can't say enough about Jerry Sample because he just stepped up. Like we knew he was going to do the mini golf, but he ended up letting us bring the barbecue judges inside. It was just like, it was a great community feel. And I would echo what Terry says. It was just really not expected. Just somebody really stepped up and made it easier for us, the barbecue people. And the only, lessons learned, we ran out of food in an hour. We really wanted to serve more people, but who'd have thought that it would have went that quick?
And all hands on board is an understatement because Nancy and her husband were there helping with cornhole. Maura and her husband were there helping with the putt-putt. High school football team was helping with the putt-putt. The Monticello Fire and Rescue I mentioned. Carlos, Mindy, Jim, Clay, everybody was up there. And those that weren't up there were out of town on a prior engagement, or I'm sure they would have been there. So a big thank you to all the volunteers, all public works, all city staff. And I think the volunteers had a great time.
Oh, it was one of the most fun times. It was just a great venue to have it at. It was nice. So.
Yeah, very successful.
So a perfect test run.
What's that?
Perfect test run for next year.
Yeah,
so.
Weather cooperated. So, I mean, that was the big one. So definitely a successful test run.
Central Illinois in 80 degrees in late July. You know how this goes.
Yeah. And I know some of the council was up there. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was busy and I wasn't always around, but I know I saw several of you up there. So appreciate you guys coming out and mingling a little bit, having fun. That's all I got.
That's it. Yeah, I don't have anything else. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed, be quiet. See you.
That's how you really feel.